So today I'm going to discuss a rapper by the name of Tupac Shakur. And this video will be heavily critical of Tupac and some of the behaviors and some of the antics that he engaged in. So I would just like to issue a disclaimer. Despite all of these criticisms that I have of Tupac, I would still like to say that he is still indeed irrefutably one of the greatest rappers of all time, and I believe that he eloquently portrays the struggles of African Americans throughout ghettos in America with an emotion that has previously been unheard of in hip hop history and still has not been matched by this day by anybody. So while I acknowledge, the strengths and the greatness of Tupac, I am also critical of Tupac and some of the antics that he engaged in, such as his fake thug persona. Like, we have to acknowledge that Tupac was indeed a pseudo gangster, and this has been demonstrated very clear in his feud with who, in my opinion, is the greatest rapper of all time, and his name is Nasir Jones. Tupac and Nas had beef with each other, or rather, what I should say is Tupac had beef with Nas. At the end of his song entitled When Thugs Cry, Tupac goes on a 30-second angry, emotional rant about Nas, who was referring to him as all sorts of offensive names and is totally just beating down Nas, just angry, just Tupac is just screaming at Nas. And the question we must ask ourselves is why? In a song called It Was Written, or in an album called It Was Written, Nas has a song entitled The Message, where Nas is rapping about a generic fake thug. Tupac, without any evidence, just assumed this song was about him, and it was not. Nas was just rapping about a generic fake thug. He just has one line: fake thug, no love, you get the slug. Tupac, for whatever reason, thought this song was about him and just got angry, went on a rant against Nas, and Nas is just like, chill, dog. I ain't got no beef with you. That song wasn't even about you. But this is how we know that Tupac was insecure about his thug status, because there are thousands of fake thugs running around America, and Nas was just describing, the generic fake thug and all the devious behavior that they represent, the facade that they're putting on. And Tupac just assumed this was about him, which shows that he was insecure about his thug status. But perhaps what is more damaging of one of the behaviors that Tupac engaged in was that he was actually inspired by Nas, but would not admit it. For example, there's a video where Tupac is saying that Nas, who is irrefutably one of the greatest rappers of all time, he's just referring to him as garbage, and he's referring to him as whack. These are completely blasphemous statements. Any true scholar of hip hop knows that using the term whack and garbage to describe Nasir Jones is absolutely ridiculous, even if it comes out of the mouth of another hip hop legend, Tupac Shakur. It's still ridiculous and it's still totally unfounded. So Tupac is calling Nas garbage, but in the closet, Tupac was a Nas fan. And how do we know this? The Outlaws are Tupac's rap group. They were in the studio together, listening to Nas's album It Was Written. And there's a song on It Was Written entitled I Gave You Power, which is just a genius song where Nas is playing an anthropomorphized gun, where he's describing his life as a gun in the hands of thugs and criminals. And this song is just incredibly genius and it's incredibly gifted. It shows the profound talent that Nasir Jones. But Tupac, he also liked this song, according to the Outlaws, and it inspired him on a song that he made called Me and My Girlfriend, where now Tupac is talking about his girlfriend, and his girlfriend is his gun, and he's also playing that anthropomorphized gun, but that Nas did, but Nas originated the concept. So Tupac obviously was an admirer of Nas's music, and he obviously liked Nas's music. But in a video, he's like, "Yo, Nas, you a whack ass nigga, you a bitch, you all of these profane words." But in the closet, you were a Nas fan. Come on, Tupac. That's not. If you claim to be a real nigga, why are you engaging in these type of behaviors? But Nas, who is really a real nigga. Nas was cool about the whole situation. He made a tribute to Tupac after he's gone. He's like, Tupac, we had words because the best are supposed to clash at the top. But we kept it brotherly when we saw each other in NYC. Then he's like, Tupac, I can't believe I heard my name on the realest shit you ever wrote. So Nas, he was a man about the entire situation. But another thing I want to talk about is when Tupac and Nas met in person. Nas confronted Tupac man to man about the beef, and they squashed it. This is confirmed by Suge Knight, who was in Tupac's crew. He's like, Nas stepped to Tupac like a man that shook hands, and they actually resolved the issue. But after their meeting, Tupac Tupac is like, yeah, I went up on that nigga Nas. That nigga was acting like a bitch. That nigga, he was acting like he just told an account of the story that was totally untrue, and that totally showed Tupac like he was trying to put on this thug facade because he's like, yeah, I stepped to Nas and he was all scared. He was all of this when no, according to your own Death Row crew member, Nas actually stepped to you, and he stepped to you in a mature way, and you actually were quiet, and you actually squashed the beef with Nas. Okay? So all of these is more than enough to prove that Tupac was indeed a fake thug, and Nas is the greatest rapper of all time.